Let's talk about emotional eating. And to be clear, emotional eating is any time you eat outside of normal meal times for reasons other than real hunger. And this can be an incredibly difficult habit to break, and I find it's the main obstacle, the main roadblock that people face when trying to lose weight and get healthy. And there are 3 reasons why we use food to deal with our emotions, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But first, I want you just to imagine what your life would be like without emotional eating, without needing the 10 a.m. mid-morning coffee break or the 3 p.m. mid-afternoon pick-me-up or the 10 p.m. late-night snack. Imagine being able to stick to 2 to 3 meals per day and having complete control over your eating. And the confidence and the comfort that you would feel being in a body that was the right size, that you were able to get to your desired weight and feel great in your clothes and feel good about yourself. And I want you to know that it's 100% possible, but first you need to understand why. Why is emotional eating so compelling? Why do we do this? Why do we sabotage ourselves and use food in a way that it's not meant to be used? So the 3 reasons are, number 1 is your body and your brain like to conserve energy. Now, when you repeat a behavior enough times, it creates a hardwired neural pathway. And basically, that action becomes so automated that it becomes delegated to your subconscious brain. Your subconscious brain governs 99% of our behaviors. So most of our behaviors are governed by our subconscious brain. So even when we try to consciously change habits, our subconscious brain is running the show. So this is why the power of habit is so huge. When you have that habit, whether it's like the 3 p.m. snack or the late night snack, it's so hardwired and so deeply ingrained that it's really difficult to interrupt. Now, number 2 is your body and your brain also like to avoid pain and discomfort. Now, the reality is that sometimes stress happens. Sometimes you experience anxiety. Sometimes you don't feel good. You feel upset. You feel lonely. You feel frustrated. You feel overwhelmed. And now that in and of itself is not a problem. It's part of life. The problem comes when we make it a problem, when we avoid the discomfort, the uncomfortable feelings and the painful feelings because we aren't able to just be with them. And so the reason why we use food is because food is very effective. When you eat, you're able to dull that discomfort. It's very numbing. It grounds your nervous system. It feels calming. It feels comforting. And although it has that instant gratification and instant relief, it has a whole lot of long-term negative consequences. Whenever you eat, when you are not hungry, you put a lot of stress on your digestive system. You mess with your blood sugar levels because anytime you eat, your blood sugar spikes. And then you get on this blood sugar roller coaster that creates cravings and messes with your hormones and disrupts your ability for your body to burn fat. So this is why it's so important that we do overcome this habit, because your body is meant to eat just a few times a day and to fast for the majority of the day. And to fast from an evening dinner time, no later than 7, to all the way until breakfast, 7, 8, 9, or even 10 o'clock, depending on your body type. So we need to get out of this habit of running away from uncomfortable and negative and painful emotions and suppressing them and pushing them away and escaping from them, and be able to learn to just sit with them. But the 3rd reason is that our body likes to feel good. We want to experience pleasure. We run towards pleasure. We live our lives in the pursuit of pleasure. Now, this in and of itself isn't such a problem, except for the fact that the foods that we crave when we are emotional eating are often foods that are high in sugar or made of flour or highly processed. Rarely do we want to snack on broccoli when we are emotional eating. It just doesn't happen. Now, the problem with all of those foods is that they create a huge spike in dopamine, and dopamine is your reward hormone. So anytime you get a hit of dopamine, and you also get a hit of dopamine anytime you check your phone or your email, there's a lot of, and play video games, all those things are designed to boost your dopamine levels. What happens is that when you continuously boost your dopamine levels, your dopamine down regulates. Basically, each time you do that thing, you get less of a dopamine hit. So you need more and more and more of that same stimulus to get the same feeling of reward and pleasure. Now, this keeps us addicted in this loop of whether it is eating sugar, flour, or processed food, or looking at your phone, or playing video games, or checking your email or social media. And it's terrible for our brains. We are literally changing our brains for the worse when we succumb to these hits of dopamine all the time. So those three reasons, conserving energy, avoiding pain, and seeking pleasure, are why we are stuck in a pattern of emotional eating. So it really comes down, honestly, to one solution, and that is you need to cultivate the ability to feel your feelings, no matter how painful, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how difficult. Because when you can feel your feelings and not feel the need to run away from them, resist them, escape them, then you build this deep confidence in yourself, because you are not afraid to do the scary thing or to do the hard thing or to say the vulnerable thing, because you're willing to experience all the feelings. So being able to do that is a practice and an art and a skill that takes time to cultivate. But it is way better than being a slave to your addiction to emotional eating, because you will always be at the mercy of whatever is happening, whatever ways you're triggered emotionally, however you're interpreting your circumstances. Now, emotions are extremely powerful because they reveal what's going on in our brain. And when we are able to sit with whatever we're feeling, and when we can identify those emotions, we can get to the bottom of what kind of thoughts are creating these feelings and emotions. And then we're able to reveal the beliefs that aren't serving us, the thoughts that are getting in our way, and the ways that we hold ourselves back. And there's no way we can even begin to unearth any of that stuff if we're always pushing it away. So the reasons for overcoming emotional eating go way beyond being able to be in control of your eating habits and to be able to lose the weight. But imagine being able to put all that energy that right now you're putting into food into getting to the root cause of what you're really hungry for. What do you really want out of your life? What are those bigger hopes and desires and visions? And if you stop wasting all that energy on digesting snacks and food, and you put it into going after your goals, your life would be transformed. So here's to stopping the cycle of emotional eating, overcoming that tendency and that need to push away emotions and to learn how to feel all the feels.